Hi, welcome to Cecil TV. I am Doug Donnelly, and tonight we are visited by Amy Short. Amy Short is from CecilCAN, a group that keeps an eye on development in Cecil County. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you for having me.
So, beyond my poor description, what is CecilCAN?
So CecilCAN, or Cecil Citizen Action Network, is a not-for-profit that is really focused on preserving Cecil County, responsible development, making sure that we are preserving the bay and the area that we all live and love.
Right. You're best known, and I think it's been your largest involvement, has been in the trying to make sure that the Chesapeake Club development in Northeast sort of is compatible with the town. But I think we'll get to that. First, I'd like to ask, do you think the laws and regulations that govern development in Cecil County, are they strong enough?
I think that they're strong enough. I don't think they've been reviewed enough. So there is a process that we go through, and it happens every 10 years. And a lot of things are grandfathered in. And so I think there's certain pieces of it that really need to be relooked at to ensure that what we have agreed upon, let's say in 1986, which is when you will find that the Chesapeake Club is from, that it still is viable for where we are living today, because so much has changed in Cecil County since the 1980s that these things just need to be reviewed and make sure that they still make sense.
Yeah. So the county government has a process, a land use and planning commission. They have hearings. But if you go on the county's website, it can be hard to figure out. So do you think there's a need for more transparency, or make it easier for people to figure out, all right, they see giant development, what do I do now?
I think that is absolutely what we need, and you've hit the nail on the head. It's so hard to understand like what you can do and how can you impact, and you hear these big developers are coming in, and what if I don't want this in my backyard, what can I do? And the answer is it's not that easy to know what to do. And I think even those who have dedicated time, such as myself and our board members, we're still trying to figure out what is this process, because it's not easy to navigate, and it's not easy to understand, if this land was said to be for XY use and now they want to do Z, how do I stop that? It's very confusing.
Right. Another development, not exactly not a housing development, but the mining operation in Perryville. Now that's something that people, objected to, protested about, went to meetings and meetings and meetings, and they got nowhere.
Right.
They basically lost.
Right. Well, and some of it is, people have the right to use their land as it's zoned. And we're trying to balance the ability to do that with what's best for the county. We're seeing things like these developments coming in. There's the very big development coming in Southfields. And, while we know that we need housing, we also know that we also need infrastructure, and we can't always have that come after, because what do you do with the before? So I think, Northeast is a great example. They are already, there's a meeting coming up next month to rezone Northeast Elementary School, Elk Neck Elementary, and Bayview, because Northeast has gotten way too large. And the Chesapeake Club was talking about adding, hundreds and hundreds of more homes. So
right.
we have to figure out what that balance is to ensure that we can sustain this type of development and that we are preserving our agriculture. I mean, that's what Cecil County has been known for a really long time. I like to say, and this is my personal opinion, I don't want to turn into Middletown. I mean, if you go down to Middletown, it used to be very much like Cecil County, and now it's very built up.
Right.
So, how do we find that balance, and how do we work with the county government to make sure that there is a balance?
Right. Agriculture is used as a sort of shield by our leaders. As long as we have, as long as you can drive from Fairhill to Rising Sun, and you see lots of farms, or out past Elkton to Chesapeake City, and there's lots of land, that, somehow, the balance is maintained. But, if you live in the middle of Elkton, or you live in Northeast and have to travel up and down Main Street, or down Main Street,
right,
up Malden Avenue, that's, whether there are cornfields and grazing horses up in Fair Hill
exactly.
has very little effect on you. So, as far as the public is concerned, the planning commission, they have public hearings, and people show up, and there, I guess sometimes there are people in support, but many times there are people who describe the impact on them. Do you think that are what they say, is what they say taken seriously, and does that become part of the process? Is that somebody making a record of it? The public said this, so maybe we should do that.
I think they do. I think it also goes back to what is the land already zoned for, and are they asking for an exception versus not? I was at a hearing recently where someone wanted to use part of their land for a cemetery for their religious community, and it was, there was people speaking out against that, but in the end, there was no legal reason for the board to be able to say, no, you can't do that. So I think that it is a balance, and we need to understand and become involved down to that 10-year plan that they do to understand how can we impact that. And so thanks to our lovely COVID, the 2020 plan was kind of pushed through and all of that. So my hope is, as the next plan comes up, I think that there's more people in the county that understand now how important it is to weigh in on that plan.
Right.
And so that hopefully we can help make some differences. I do think that they listen to the concerns, but I think in some cases their hands are tied because that land is owned by someone, and there is, would you be harming them in changing the zoning is one of the laws they have to abide by.
Right. They are following the law. The
Right.
problem is that, at these 10-year periods, that's when they should be looking at
Absolutely.
it. Change the law.
Absolutely.
So there is a housing shortage, and as long as the economy is and the market is favorable for developers, there's going to be new housing. So you mentioned the 10-year plan. Are there other ways for the public's concerns to be heard and taken seriously?
I think so. I think, being involved in our community and understanding where they're planning to build and what that impact will be on those schools, understanding not only what the impact is on your local area, but outside of that, one of the best things that happened for the Chesapeake Club was, the fire fighters came and spoke about their concern with with coming down Main Street. So I think the more that we get involved in saying where does it make sense to build, where does it make sense for the county to build, where, you know, what would benefit us all, all of us together, versus I'm going to do it here because I own the, you know, this developer owns this land and I can get the buy-in, versus this is where it makes the most sense for Cecil County. I think that's what we need more of, and where we can impact it is at that 10-year plan, and by going to the different the zoning board meetings and understanding what is being proposed, because these things take a while. It's not, you know, so understanding what's coming up is very important as well.
Right. And, you know, unlike other places, say California and New York, which are stuck in these ongoing housing shortages, and where the combination of zoning and people's sentiments just block any kind of development. You're not saying no development.
No.
You're just saying, you know,
responsible development.
Responsible development.
Exactly. Like we have to be realistic. You know, the Chesapeake Club Phase 1, that was development. That used to not be there either. So
right.
We have to be realistic. There needs to be housing. This area is growing, but we want it to be responsible development. We want to make sure it's not damaging our environment. There were some issues with that with the Chesapeake Club as well. We also want to make sure that the people that purchased homes thinking that they were on open land get that in the
right.
end. And so, you know, that was the big thing with the Chesapeake Club as well.
Right. So, all of this, maintaining an operation that advocates for responsible housing, doesn't come cheaply.
No, it does not. So I'm glad you said that. We have done such a great job in fundraising. We are a not-for-profit. We had to get a lawyer to help fight against the Chesapeake Club, and a lot of people didn't think it could happen, but we were successful, and the preliminary plat was denied, and it was a great win for Cecil County. But it came at a cost, and so we are continuing to fundraise, and so we're having a shrimp, beef, and beer coming up on March 9th.
And where is this happening?
So that's happening at the VFW in Northeast. It's 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock, and it's going to have a live auction, some really great things to bid on there. We're going to have some music. It's going to be a really good time, and hopefully everyone can come out and support us. You know, it was a big, huge win for the county, and we could use everyone's help in being able to pay the bill that came with it.
Yes. Okay. Well, Amy Short from Cecil CAN, we're very happy that you could be with us tonight, and we wish you good luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.